I can feel you from here. I can hear you from here. I know that you have heard this all before. I've also heard this all before. But it doesn't mean that you're necessarily doing it, or that you understand the importance of consistency in social media. Welcome, social media marketers, managers, writers, and possibly even just lovers, to the 10 commandments of social media. Today, we'll be covering the first commandment of social media, which is consistency. You want your audience to recognize you instantly. You want to be at the front of their mind and their first choice every time. There is not enough time or attention span left in this world anymore, and you need to capitalize on that by being familiar to your audience. A good example of this is actually Coca-Cola. Wherever you are on this planet, whatever culture or language, if you see their consistent branding, that special red and white, the first thing you think of is Coke. And that's exactly the goal that you're going to aim for. It also helps you differentiate yourself from everyone else. Social media and the internet as a whole is saturated with so many different brands and different types of content. And whether it's bad, good, or spam, you need to stand out from the rest. You need your customers to choose you every single time. And what helps this is consistency, because it actually forms the basis for some of the core reasons why your brand is on social media in the first place. One of those reasons, one of the most important reasons, is brand recognition. You want your audience to recognize you instantly. There is not enough time or attention span left on this earth. You want to be the first choice at the front of their mind every single time, because it differentiates you from everyone else. The noise on social media and the internet at large is deafening. It is so saturated, and whether they're good or bad or spam, you need to stand out from the rest to your audience. It's also really important to use consistency to build a personality, a brand identity, something that your audience can sink their teeth into and relate to. This is important because they actually expect it from you. No one wants to deal with or engage with a faceless, cold, inhuman organization. No, that's not why they're on social media. They're seeking authenticity, genuine realness, none of that sneaky, underhanded marketing stuff. And when you meet this expectation, they start to trust you. They start to see you as an authority, and they'll start to listen to you. And this means they're more likely to buy into your brand and to share it with everyone else that they know. But one thing that's quite important to know here is you do not need to be completely identical across your social media. You're going to be posting to different platforms with different audiences, and you're probably going to have people following you across those platforms. So things like copy and content, they're probably going to change a little bit per platform, but your core message, your core values, the personality I was talking about, those are going to be clear and reinforced across communications, because you don't want to confuse your audience. Imagine how jarring it could be if your friend came up to you in a completely different outfit, a completely different way of walking and talking, different hair, different voice. That's going to be damn unsettling, and I'm not sure how much you would trust them in that moment. And that's exactly what you want to do. You want to foster trust. And if you don't do that, if you're not consistent, you're no longer that special you, the you that they chose to follow in the first place. It could also come off as quite careless, unprofessional, like you couldn't really be bothered to make the effort. And that is definitely not an idea that you want to foster in your audience's mind. From tone to content to posting and aesthetics, you want to be consistent throughout. So let's begin. You want to build a tone, a voice that your customers begin to recognize the way that they recognize a friend's voice. This way it'll help break down their barriers and put them at ease and make them a lot more likely to listen to you. And to do this, you need to understand who your audience is, their demographics, their aspirations, their goals, their pet peeves. All of that changes and influences how they interact and how you need to interact with them. So cultivate a voice, cultivate a tone, and stick with it. Make it familiar to them. Secondly, we have content. Consistency in content is so important. It needs to be consistently authentic, real, genuine, the you that they followed, but it also needs to be consistently relevant to your brand. If you're a pizza parlor and you start posting makeup tutorials, you're gonna lose a lot of followers. They came here for unadulterated cheese, sauce, and dough content. And the moment that you change that expectation, you're changing the reason why they followed you in the first place. And they're not necessarily likely to stick around. So the more consistently you post relevant, authentic content, the more your audience will see you as that. Posting consistency. Whether you're posting once a day or 3 times a week, you need to choose a posting frequency that's manageable with your current resources and stick with it. If you bite off more than you can chew, and then you start decreasing your posting, you start becoming inconsistent, the algorithms are gonna get you. Unfortunately, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn, their algorithms all favor consistency. So as soon as you start decreasing your posts, they're gonna start decreasing the amount of views that you get on your audience's timeline. And I know it's frustrating, but you gotta remember, it's their world and we are just posting in it. So you're gonna have to play by their rules if you want to win. Posting frequency also extends to the day and the time that you post. You want to post on the same day and time weekly. This fosters an expectation. And what is expectation? It's anticipation, it's excitement. They're waiting there for your next piece of content to drop. This is so important, especially for lives and weekly updates. They're waiting for your content. And if you leave them hanging, if you ghost them, they're not likely going to be waiting for you next time, and you're going to lose out on engagement. So it's important to make sure that you stick to those times and days. What will help you with this is creating a publishing schedule or a content calendar. This way you can map out your content, see what's missing, choose the days, stick to them, and you can even use it to post in advance. So if you're running out of time, create all your posts and then schedule them out. But I have a pro tip for you. Consider not posting on the hour. So post at the same time, but not exactly on the hour every single time. You want to foster the idea that you are a real life human being with deadlines and no time, and you're not necessarily going to be on time every time. So try posting it like 2 minutes past 9, 5 minutes to 2 o'clock, something like that. It gives them the idea that it's a human being posting and not a scheduling app. You want to be consistent in your aesthetics, which counts as your brand, your look, your feel. You need to build this identity, like I said, that your customers are going to recognize, they're going to remember. We're human beings are inherently visual creatures. We're attracted to, we seek out appealing visuals, and that's what you want to give them. So you need to choose a theme, a color scheme, and for visually dominant apps, a filter that matches your brand identity. It matches your culture and what you stand for. A good example of this is Coca-Cola. Everyone knows their color. Everyone knows their branding. But now imagine they suddenly started posting in blue. What's the first thing you think would pop into their audience's mind? What's the first thing that pop into your mind? Probably Pepsi, their biggest competitor. And although that's pretty unlikely to happen for such a big company, it's a good way to illustrate the importance of sticking consistently to your branding, your color scheme, and your theme. This consistently reinforces your brand, its identity, and it helps brand recognition, which, like I said in the beginning, is so important. So guys, that brings us to the end of commandment number 1. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that you learned something. And if you didn't, let us know, enlighten me. I want this video to be a conversation starter. I want it to be an idea sparker. So tell us what worked for you, what didn't work for you, what did you learn, what didn't you learn? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks guys.